Chris Nolan says that if the former Man of Steel won't be James Bond, maybe someone from the Marvel Cinematic Universe will take over the mantle. I'm Troy from Arcs on Movies, and today we're discussing who the next Agent 007 will be. Now, on with the story. The link to the article I'm covering in this video can be found in the description. Not Henry Cavill, Christopher Nolan's rumored entry as James Bond director can potentially make Avengers 2 star the new 007. Christopher Nolan's potential involvement in the James Bond franchise has been the subject of persistent rumors over the last few years. Nolan has shown interest in the director's role on a number of occasions, and with the end of the Daniel Craig era of James Bond, these rumors have gained significant momentum. If producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson succeed in bringing Christopher Nolan on board, as per rumors for 2 movies, the hype for this film will skyrocket. I'm not gonna lie, Christopher Nolan's rumored involvement alone has me incredibly excited. Before the Daniel Craig films dropped, I wouldn't have known if Nolan was the right guy for this job, but seeing films like Skyfall give me hope that Bond films can be made much larger, sprawling epics. Skyfall has been my favorite James Bond movie so far. Even though I did enjoy Casino Royale and Spectre, I wasn't super invested in Quantum of Solace, but I do have some respect for how it was made. I hated No Time to Die and felt that it was a departure from what they'd done so far with Daniel Craig, but that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is that I can totally see Chris Nolan helming a more serious James Bond film with a deep mystery and mystique to it. He managed to make the Dark Knight trilogy both a superhero franchise and yet grounded in some kind of realism. I think that he could do the same for Bond as well. And while I know Daniel Craig's movies were a soft reboot, and the world is very tired of that sort of thing, I think that Nolan has to do what they did at the end of No Time to Die, spoilers, and blow it up before starting anew. Now that would be updating for a modern audience that I think would actually be worthwhile. Anyway, back to the article. Nolan is enjoying a wave of success following the release of Oppenheimer, a biopic, or biopic, depending on where you're from, on the father of the atom bomb. The interesting question that arises with the rumored entry of the Interstellar director is the choice of actor who will succeed Daniel Craig in the iconic 007 role. Who will be Christopher Nolan's choice of James Bond actor? Throughout the years, the iconic role of MI6 spy agent James Bond has been played by legendary actors such as Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, and of course, Daniel Craig. Craig announced his exit from the role after No Time to Die in 2021. Since then, various actors have been rumored to take up the mantle in the franchise. One of the fan-favorite contenders was Henry Cavill, who was the second choice for the role during the casting of Casino Royale. Cavill has expressed his interest in the role on various occasions. However, with Christopher Nolan reportedly in talks to direct, another Marvel actor has emerged as the frontrunner. Aaron Taylor Johnson is known for his role as Pietro Maximoff in the MCU's Avengers Age of Ultron, and the titular character in the upcoming Sony's Spider-Man Universe film, Kraven the Hunter. First of all, Cavill is now in the upcoming Argyle movie, where he plays a super spy by the same name. But the way that the film is done, he's acting out thoughts in an author's head as she writes a spy novel. Then, in the real world, quote-unquote, the author meets the real-life Argyle, who is not played by Henry Cavill, and they have real spy adventures. Not quite James Bond, but whatever. I had actually covered a story at one point that said that Aaron Taylor Johnson was completely out of talks to play Bond, and they were looking elsewhere. The people who have taken over the 007 franchise since the making of No Time to Die aren't exactly the best people for the job, in my opinion. And while I'm not completely sold on Taylor Johnson as Bond, I think that they could make it work, especially with Christopher Nolan as the director. But back to the article. Taylor Johnson previously collaborated with Christopher Nolan in his 2020 sci-fi action film Tenet. There have been reports suggesting that Taylor Johnson has secretly auditioned for the role and may soon be confirmed. Earlier, other actors in Nolan's circle, such as Cillian Murphy, Robert Pattinson, and Tom Hardy, were also rumored to be considered for the role. What are the chances of Christopher Nolan helming the James Bond movies? The chances are pretty high for the franchise to bring in Christopher Nolan, especially since the last rumored director, Matthew Vaughn, has taken on a DC project, making him unavailable. Interestingly, Nolan had to pass up the opportunity to direct an earlier James Bond film, Spectre, due to his busy schedule. Look, I liked Spectre for the most part, but Chris may have dodged a bullet there. Now would be a good time for him to step in. Not back then. Further, in an interview with Playboy magazine, Nolan revealed that he has maintained communication with the producers of the James Bond franchise. The Dark Knight director shared his excitement in potentially directing a Bond film with Playboy. Quote, "I've spoken to the producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson over the years. I deeply love the character, and I'm always excited to see what they do with it." End quote. Broccoli and Wilson are the two I was referring to when I said that I didn't think they were the best people for the job of taking care of these films. They brought in Phoebe Waller-Bridge on No Time to Die, after all. And Daniel Craig's Bond movies were always up and down with quality and seemingly with direction. No Time to Die reeked of, we want to wrap this one up.
Keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
But if they bring in Christopher Nolan to direct, a younger man to play Bond, and give Nolan pretty much free reign, I think they'll be okay, and they'll definitely win back my confidence.
Give me a hell yeah!
Speaking of which, more recently, Nolan admitted that it would be an amazing privilege to direct a James Bond movie during an appearance on the Happy Sad Confused podcast with Josh Horowitz. However, Nolan presented a condition to have creative freedom over the project if he were to take it on. Nolan shared with Josh Horowitz, quote, "You wouldn't want to take on a film not fully committed to what you bring to the table creatively. So as a writer, casting, everything, it's a full package. You'd have to really be wanted in terms of bringing the totality of what you bring to the character." End quote. Fans look forward to a confirmation from the producers, especially since it has been 2 years since the release of the last Bond film. In the meantime, fans of the franchise can enjoy all the Bond films, now available for streaming on MGM+. First of all, I'm today's years old when I found out that MGM Plus was a thing. That's gotta be near the bottom of the streaming wars, right? Not one single person that I know knows that that service even exists.
What the hell is even that?
Either way, Christopher Nolan is notorious for demanding that his vision be put on screen. He is strict with his scripts, he's strict with his control, and damn it, he should be. He's got a proven track record of success. If you let him take control of the Bond franchise, even for just one film, I think he could reignite interest in the character and the franchise all over again. As far as Aaron Taylor-Johnson, he's a decent actor. I have mostly just seen him in action films and, well, superhero movies, like Kick-Ass and Avengers 2, and the upcoming Kraven movie that he's going to be in. James Bond doesn't demand too much emotion from the actor portraying him. Daniel Craig emoted probably more than any other actor that took on that role before him, and all previous actors were great. So I'm thinking that Taylor-Johnson may be alright in the role. Tom Hardy could most likely pull it off, but he seems a bit too gruff and not quite debonair enough. I believe that Henry Cavill would be the perfect choice for James Bond, but I'm not sure that will ever happen. Either way, I'm excited for the future of the 007 film franchise. Comment down below with your thoughts on all of this. Would you like Christopher Nolan to take control of the Bond franchise? Would you like to see Aaron Taylor-Johnson be the next James Bond? If you had it your way, what would your perfect director-actor combo be for the next James Bond film? And do you think that they should keep the series going from where Daniel Craig left it, or do another soft reboot? Let me know down in the comments section. Also, please share this video around to everyone you know, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click that little bell to be notified every time we post brand new content. I've been Troy from Marks on Movies. I will see you next time.
Just a drink. A martini, shaken, not stirred.